said, no, not everything that moves. I'm going to give you guys this diet. And he said, if you do this diet, and we'll see that in some of these, if you just do this diet, if you eat and you do the things that I tell you, you're going to live longer and more prosperous and just happier, healthier lives. And so I want to ask you guys something. So God is a loving God, right? Yeah. And so when he gave these food restrictions, what they could, you think he did it out of love or just to be mean and say, I just don't want you to eat what other people eat? Or do you think he had a better reason for it than that? Yeah, I think he had a reason, and it's like, I created food, I created you, and I know what's good for you and what's not good for you. And that's why I made these. It wasn't to make you like you're not getting what everyone else is getting, that kind of thing. It's like you're getting better than whatever anyone else is getting, because I have these specific guidelines for you to follow for your own benefit, because God loves his people, and he wants them to benefit. So anyway, as we get into that, speak to the children of Israel, Leviticus 7:23 through 27, saying, you will eat what? No manner of fat of ox. So he says of who? Of ox or of sheep or of goat, and the fat of the animal that dies of itself. So that's pretty specific, right? You will eat no manner of fat of ox or of sheep or of goat. And the fat of the animal which dies of itself, and the fat of which is torn with animals, that it may be used in any other use, but you will not eat of it. You can use it for anything else, but don't eat it. Okay? For whoever eats of the fat of the animal, of which men offer an offering made by fire to the Lord, even that soul that eats will be cut off from his people. Moreover, you will eat no manner of blood, and we talked about that already, whether it's from a fowl or an animal or any dwellings, whatever soul it is that eats of any manner of blood, even that soul will be cut off from his people. So, no manner of fat from an ox, which we would know as a cow, from a sheep or a goat. So it's those herd animals. What's the matter with eating fat? Okay, so one of the reasons Sonia said is it stores toxins, right? Even an animal sometimes eats things that it shouldn't eat. And in fact, nowadays people, if you go to where they feed cattle feeding places, you wouldn't believe the things that they feed those cattle. It's not even necessarily plant-based. And I remember my dad, he always, when it was getting close to time to butcher the cow, he wanted to feed it grain, corn, grain, right, and make it big and fat, and it would taste good, and it would. But it's not good for you. No, animal fat is not good for you. Your body typically will make all the cholesterol you need, because it's a misnomer to think cholesterol is not good. Cholesterol is good. An overabundance of cholesterol is not good. Okay? But cholesterol, we need cholesterol for almost every function that we have. Okay? And so it's very, very important for us. But we will get enough of that eating just the meat without all the fat. Does that make sense? Because it kind of gets cooked into that. Plus, our liver is going to make it anyway. So that's a good thing. So eat no fat. I think that's a good rule. Animal fat. And when I talk about fat, I'm talking about animal fat. Try to stay away from that. I used to, when I was younger, that was my favorite part. I have to eat the fat. I take my brother's. My brother always cut it off. You know that to this day my brother does not have bad cholesterol. His cholesterol is great. Ask me about mine. Yeah, and I think it's just from all those years that I ate. I love the fat. I would take it and I would just eat the fat. And I would even push out the bones that had the fat marrow in them. And I would push them out and I would take that and I would eat it. I did that for years and years and years. And then I had bad cholesterol. And so guess what? I had to stop. Yeah. So anyway, it's just not a good thing. So he goes on to tell his people, you shall not eat any abominable thing. That abominable means thing that just is not good. Okay? These are the animals which you can eat, okay, which you shall eat, which you can eat. The ox, the sheep, the goat, the hare, that's a rabbit, by the way. The gazelle, the roebuck, that's just deer, and the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, the mountain sheep, and every animal that parts the hoof and has the hoof split in two and chews the cud among the animals, that you can eat, or you shall eat, right? Nevertheless, these things you shall not eat. Now here we go. See, these are things that we really need to stay away from. Them that chew the cud, or of them that have cloven hoofs. The camel. Who would want to eat a camel? I don't know. I guess if I was hungry, I would. The hare and the rock badger. For they chew the cud, but they don't divide the hoof. Therefore they are unclean to you. The swine. We knew that was coming, huh? Because it divides the hoof, yet chews not the cud. It is unclean to you. We'll talk about these in a minute. You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These you shall not eat of those that are in the waters. That you can eat that are in the waters. Those that have fins and scales shall you eat. Whatever has not fins and not scales you cannot eat. It is unclean to you. Of all the clean birds you shall eat, but these are of which you shall not eat: the eagle, the vulture, the osprey, the buzzard, the falcon, the kite after their kinds, ravens after its kind, ostrich, and the nighthawk, and the seagull, and the hawk after their kinds, the little owl and the great owl, the water hen, and the pelican, the carrion vulture, and the cormorant, the stork, the heron after its kind, the hoopoe, and the bat. None of those. Why do you think he chose those ones as not eating? They're carrion eaters and predators. So disease-ridden. Right? Disease-ridden. All those are very disease-ridden. He didn't want his people getting disease. So that was a health thing. But of all the clean fowls you may eat, you shall eat of anything that you shall not eat of anything that dies of itself. You shall give it to the stranger that is in your gates, and he may eat of it, or you may sell it to a foreigner. I like that. You can give it to the foreigners, but don't eat it yourself. All right? So, for you are a holy people to the Lord your God. Okay? And like I said, he gave them these rules for health reasons, to help them out, because they were his special people. And he said that in Deuteronomy 5:33, you shall walk in the ways which your Lord God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you. In other words, everything's going to go well, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you shall possess. There was a good reason that God gave that diet. It was very helpful to them. It was very beneficial to them. It wasn't something that it was bad for them. And 12:25 says, you will not eat it, talking about those abominable things, that it may go well with you, that it may be beneficial to you and with your children after you, when you do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. And good time to stop and just say this. whenever we do what the Lord says, it's beneficial. Okay? It's very helpful to us. That's why the Bible is so important to us and God's Word is so important to us. When we do it His way, it just seems to work. When we don't do it His way, we get into all kinds of problems. So anyway, he said, when you do what is right in the sight of the Lord. And then in Leviticus 20:25, it says, you will make a distinction between clean animals and unclean, and between unclean fowls and clean, and you will not make your souls abominable by animals. Wow, it affects even that far, and that has to do with obedience. Or by fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creeps on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. He's saying, I gave these to you for a reason. Please do them. Please do them. There's a reason for that. Okay? And I saw that, and it's two different words, and I can't remember what they were, but it's two different Hebrew words, so it's not the same animal, but I'm not sure what the difference is. I can look that up. Yeah, I'd have to look. Then that could be. That very well could be. But I'd have to look that up. I saw that when I was reading. I said, "Oh, what's that doing in both?" I didn't pick that up before. So, but I'm going to look that up because I want to find out what that is. All right, Kyle's 12 keys to healthy eating. Are you ready for this? We got 12 of them. They're the keys to eat healthy. Number 1. Always 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. Okay, and if you eat 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, you're going to be pretty much too full to eat anything else. So that's a key for those. That would be every day if you can, yeah. Fruits and vegetables are just so good for you. Okay? We'll talk about organic versus non-organic here in a little bit, but fruits and vegetables are what God gave us to eat. And they are, and that's why they are the most healthy thing that we can eat. And that's why you'll see them on all the food pyramid charts as the base, the thing to eat the most of. They are just healthy because they have all kinds of things called antioxidants. Have you ever heard that term? Antioxidants. So antioxidants are little molecules, and I have a little thing here for you if you want to look. And they have an extra electron, right? And free radicals, have you heard of those? So free radicals are bad things that we get due to our metabolism, number one, and due to chemicals and pollutants and all those things. So they go into our bodies, and remember, it's all about the blood. This all happens in the blood. So in the blood, if we're loaded with antioxidants, that antioxidant will come and it'll pair with that thing and take it away. Okay, that's what it amounts to. So the antioxidant has an extra electron, and the free radical has one where it needs an electron. It's an unpaired electron. So free radicals are bad things because they can go hook onto other things, right? And cause all kinds of problems. And so that's why antioxidants are so important for us, and we get those antioxidants from fruits and vegetables. Tons of them. And they're very beneficial because they help clean our blood. And we want clean blood. Okay? And it's very important. So this just talks about how they're formed, and there are a lot of ways, right? Smoking, ultraviolet light, just digestion, inflammation, air pollution. There's all kinds of ways, radiation, that we get free radicals into our blood system. And antioxidants grab them. and take care of them. So the more antioxidants that you can have, guess what? The less free radicals you can have. And in our society, we are bombarded with this stuff that causes free radicals. We're literally bombarded with it. And it causes just all kinds of problems and all kinds of health problems. And in fact, you see lawyers on TV, right, saying if you were exposed to this, give us a call. We're going to win this case, right? Because there's just so many pollutants out there. And now Roundup is a big one. Glyphosate, right? A lot of people, it's a nasty little thing. I've been spraying my plant weeds for a long time with that, and I still do. I really mask up and do all that kind of stuff, but it might be beneficial if I didn't. But those poisons cause problems to the human being. Just think if you drank a whole bunch of glyphosate, you'd probably die. It's that bad, but then we'll spray it. But when stuff gets on our skin, you know what our skin does? So it absorbs it. All right, that's why they have those skin patches for medications, right? Because your skin, guess what it does? It absorbs it. That's why they have those essential oils that you can rub on you, because guess what your skin does? It absorbs. That's what it does. And so when you get Roundup on there, guess what it does? Yeah, so that's why if you're going to spray Roundup, which I do, you want to be completely covered, because it will get into you. And remember, everything that goes into your body has to do something with, right? And the more bad things I get in there, the less it has to do the things that it needs to do for good, right? All right, 18 healthy foods for a long life. These foods have been shown to increase the age span, okay? And you can look all these up if you want to. Apples, blackberries. By the way, if you're going to eat fruits, I think berries are the best ones to eat because they have less sugar than some of the other ones. Because sugar, even a natural sugar, is still difficult on your body and can cause a spike in your sugar, which causes some problems. Blueberries, great one. Broccoli, cherries, tomatoes, cranberries, oranges, peaches, plums, raspberries, red grapes, red onions, spinach, strawberries, teas, dark chocolate. Yay for all you chocolate lovers. I'm a chocolate lover. Dark chocolate, not milk chocolate, dark chocolate. Big difference. Coffee. Yay, I like that one too, right? So all these I guess I don't know. I don't know the reason why. They probably have more of a certain antioxidant in them. That's for more than the black. Yeah, because they'll be different. So you notice that anything missing from these foods that cause or help you with long lifespan? Meat. There's something else missing too. Well, fish is a meat. Okay, potatoes are missing, yeah. Yeah. So grains, where are they? Yeah. So there's no grains in there, and there's a reason for that, because grains spike your blood sugar levels. And anytime your blood sugar levels go up too much, it is devastating to your body. That's why diabetes is such a devastating disease, because it keeps your body from being able to do repair work that needs to be done on all of our bodies from other things. So it's a hard thing. So these are great foods that help and have been shown in studies to increase the lifespan. Okay? All right, so number 1, eat 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. Very important. Number 2, I hate this one, by the way. You know why? Because I love bacon. I like bacon. And sausage I've done okay because I just eat turkey sausage, which is a bird that is allowed. But bacon, I have to admit, I have bacon once every quarter probably. A little bit. I don't eat much, maybe 2 or 3 strips. And then I have had turkey bacon, and that's not bad. It's just not quite the same, right? There's just nothing like pork bacon. So no pork, or at least very limited pork. Why would pork be in there? Why would God say don't eat pig? So they do have a lot of bacterial issues. One of the things with pork, right, they tell you make sure it's cooked thoroughly. Why? Well, not if I have to cook a food thoroughly or else it's going to hurt me, that should tell me something, right? That should make some sense to me, like maybe this is a meat I shouldn't have, because what if it just didn't happen to get cooked enough? Or, you know, what is it that's bad about it that makes that? And of course you have a lot of things that swine pick up because of the way they eat and the things that they do. Yeah. They do. Yes, they do. And they can pull in all kinds of nasty stuff. And it sticks in the meat. Yeah. Right. Hmm. Sewage. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. The pigs. Yeah. 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 Hmm. Now it makes more sense, huh? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so God, you know, He was pretty. Adamant. Oh, that thing, I'm not even touching it, and it's just going all over the place. All right. In Leviticus, he said, and the swine, though it divides the hoof and the clove foot, yet it choose not to cut, is unclean to you. And then in Isaiah 65, he said, the people provoke me to err continually to my face, that sacrifice in gardens and burn incense upon the altars of brick, who remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, who eat swine's flesh and the broth of abominable things that is in their vessels. So it was pretty important to not eat pig. And even though I think even the Muslims don't like to eat pig. And there's a good reason for it. That meat, have you ever looked at how if you have a pork chop, how tight the meat is? It's really, really tight. It's very hard for us to digest. And so we don't get a lot out of it anyway. But it's just not really good for us. And so it'd be good to stay away from pork. Lean red meat. Okay, I'm not saying we can't have red meat. We live in the United States, for goodness sakes, right? Red meat is, and actually there's some red meat that's really good. I think deer, elk, you know, those are really good. And I think cattle too that aren't fed grains are really good as well. But you still want to limit your red meat. You don't want to eat red meat. You know, in America, a lot of people eat red meat 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I used to do that. I remember. I would have red meat 3 times a day. I still have it twice a day sometimes, but usually only once a day, and I should, by my own rule, only have it about 5 times a week at the most, and go some days without any meat at all. And that would be very beneficial to me and to you. Red meat just has some stuff in it that isn't always good, but the grass-fed, you've heard of grass-fed beef, and those kind are really good, and we get a lot of good stuff from them. All right, number 4, eat chickens. Eat chicken. So, and really the white meat's the best, right, for you as well, because the darker meat will have a little more of the fat. That's why it's the better tasting. But those are allowed to eat. We already read this, so I don't really need to go over that again. The ones that are the fowls that you can eat. Number 5, organic is the best by far. This has been studied. So if you don't eat organic, guess what you get? Chemicals. So if we get chemicals, what does our body have to do? Does it like chemicals in our blood that aren't supposed to be there? No, it doesn't. And so when we get those chemicals from pesticides, from food additives, all herbicides, all that stuff. Remember, everything that goes into your body has to do something with. So we'll get, we call it an inflammatory response, right? Which is not good for your body. And your body's saying, oh my gosh, there's something there that can cause harm. I've got to take care of this. I got to do something with this. That's where the antioxidants really help us out. But when we don't have enough of them, and we're getting overwhelmed because we're eating prepackaged food. If you ever saw what was in prepackaged food, if you look at, I'll show you something about organic, and this is just one example. I have tons of them. So this is maple syrup. So if you look on the left, it says, from Health Food Store, it says, product name is organic maple syrup. I want you to look at the ingredients that are in that. 100% raw, unprocessed, unfiltered maple syrup. That's your ingredient. Okay? That's not bad, right? Now we got Aunt Jemima. We've been with her for a long time, right? She's been around a long time. Aunt Jemima original syrup. Here's our ingredients. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, caramel color, salt, sodium benzoate, ascorbic acid, artificial flavors, natural flavors, and sodium, I can't even say that word, phosphate. Is there a little difference there? Yeah, there's a huge difference. That's why you're always better off to eat organic and or grow it yourself, which is eating organic. Then you know what's in it. Go to the store sometime and look at the difference on all kinds of things that are organic and non-organic, prepackaged. They have all kinds of bad stuff. In fact, I listed them out for you, some of the bad stuff that when you go to the store, if you see these food additives, avoid them. Don't buy the thing because they're really bad for you. Sodium nitrate, right? They put that in a lot of meats because it's for preserving them, to cure them. And so you'll see sodium nitrates in a lot of the meats. And then we have BHA and BHT. That was always a big one in the cereals. BHA added for your freshness. Yeah. So it stays fresh so that cereal can last 30 years on the shelf, right? That's what that's all about. Propyl gallate. So another one. If you see these words, they're just bad. MSG. Chinese restaurants used to put a lot of MSG. It's a flavoring. It is good, and so yeah, and so you got to be really careful with that. So I remember I don't eat Chinese food anymore, and I might want to try it because I've heard they quit using it, and a lot of them, because every time I went to eat Chinese, I would wind up with a migraine headache. Every time. And I think it was due to the MSG. And so I just said, no, when I go to Chinese, I order American. And then I don't have it. But I like Chinese food. I don't mind the taste of it. But I've heard that they've stopped doing that because MSG is really not good. It has a lot of can cause a lot of neurological problems. Well, obviously me it did too, because that's what a migraine is, a neurological problem. But it can cause other ones that kind of even mimic, like multiple sclerosis and that kind of stuff. And so you got to be really careful when you eat it, because it can cause just a wave of problems. So anyway, so when you're looking at the labels, and we should all look at labels. That's just what you should do. Okay? Trans fats, that's been in the news as well for quite a while now, how bad they were. You know, back in the 60s, trans fats were the thing. I don't know if you remember that. We use butter, right? And then all of a sudden, a guy came out with this flawed study. It was flawed, and they knew it, on margarine. And said, oh, butter's bad for you and margarine's good. Trans fats. Right? Well, you know what happened when we started using margarines all the time? Our heart disease went way up. It was just horrid. And finally, someone came to their senses in the late 80s and said, come on, we know this is a flawed study. Why are we still doing this? And then they said, oh, well, margarine's bad, trans fats are bad. And they are. They're horrible. They're maybe the worst thing you can eat is margarine and or salad dressings, other than olive oil, or avocado oil, those kind. But they're just horrible for you. Very, very bad. And so trans fats, thank God, are no longer. I mean, even the Food and Drug Administration finally got on board with those, right? Okay, aspartame. You guys heard of that one? So yeah, so diet pop. Maybe the worst thing you can drink on the planet. Everyone says, oh, I drink diet pop because I don't want the calories. You are way better off with the sugar and the calories than you are with diet pop and aspartame. All right? So aspartame, again, is a molecule that causes symptoms of multiple sclerosis and other neurological disorders. I worked with a lady that was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, bad diagnosis, but that's what she was diagnosed with because she had all the symptoms of. She drank a liter of diet pop every day. Every day, a liter of diet pop, and she wondered, why am I having these symptoms that say I have multiple sclerosis? I thought, man, you should know this. It's just not good. All right, and so then here's a few more of these additives to avoid. Food colorings, you know, red dye number this, or blue dye number this, or green dye or yellow dye. Those are not good for us. Olestra, which is just a fake fat. Potassium bromate. Ooh. Yeah, I have no clue. It's just a bad one. I really don't know what. I can't even pronounce the thing. You can sure look it up though on Google, and it'll tell you what that is. And it's not anything you want in your body. That I can promise you. Okay. White sugar, which we'll talk about white sugar later, and sodium chloride. Okay. What's sodium chloride? Ah, yeah. Good job, guys. NaCl, sodium chloride. What do the doctors tell you to quit eating when you're having some high blood pressure and that kind of problems? Quit eating salt. You know why? Because we get way too much of it in our diet. And And again, it's a flavoring for food, right? And so they put it in there to make food flavorful so that you want to eat more of it. Same reason they put sugar in is so that you want more. Your body will crave that. Well, when I get to sugar, I'll talk to you a little bit about sugar and what it really is. All right. Yeah. Right, sure. That it's definitely better. No doubt about it. Yeah, that iodized fake salt, I call it. It's been so processed, it's not really salt anymore. Um, is not good. And so remember, everything that goes into your body has to do something with it. And when we overwhelm our body, then it starts putting stuff where you don't want it. That can cause cancer. That can cause just a plethora of stuff, cause us to get fat, amongst other things. So, all right, take a whole food supplement. And notice I didn't say take vitamins. I said take a whole food supplement. Way different than vitamins. Okay? Now, they are vitamins, but they're way different than any vitamin than just going and getting a multiple once-a-day vitamin. Because those multiple once-a-day vitamins are made up of what we call synthetic vitamins. Do you know what the word synthetic means? It means they're fake vitamins. Now, they mimic them real well. But here's the thing. God created our body so well that it even knows a fake vitamin that's been mimicked. Yeah, he knows. All of our vitamins, all of our minerals, everything should come from our food. So they have what are called whole food vitamins. Like that. These are what I take. Okay? And I'll pass them around, but and you can kind of look at them. But that's what I take. And it has some really good stuff in it. And it's vitamins that your body can use. See, my body's not going to kick these out. They've done trials on, they used to do trials. You heard of trials on vitamin C, and they say vitamin C doesn't do anything. We just did a trial. You know what kind of vitamins they were using? Test, test, test. Am I back on? Yeah. Yeah, they have them for women too. Yeah, just some of the blends that they put in. So there'll be a difference. Yeah. Yeah, they have and they have them for children as well. So depending on men and women have some different dietary needs and stuff. So okay. Number 7, take an omega-3 supplement. Fish oils do so much good, right? So fish oils are very anti-inflammatory, and they're very good for our brain. Guess what our brain is mostly made up of? Fat. Yeah, our brains are mostly made up of fat. There's tons of fat in there. That's why if you go on a low-fat diet, if you're not eating some good fats, your mental ability goes way down. And they found that even with Alzheimer people, that they do much better when they are getting good, healthy fats. I'm not talking about bad fats, not right, animal fats. No. I'm talking about good fats. We need them. That's what our brain is fat, and very important for us. And so fish oils are good for helping the brain and cardiac function as well, okay? So just good stuff. All right. Limit your dairy products. All right. So dairy, it gets a bad go nowadays. And you know why? Milk is really good for you, and yogurt and all those things. They're really beneficial and they're good. The problem is we pasteurize everything. Okay? So you know what pasteurization does? It kills everything. Yeah, it kills all the bacteria. That's what it does, right? And so, but the thing about milk and yogurts and stuff is the bacteria is there for a reason. God put bacteria in the milk for a reason. And that is those bacteria help you digest the milk. All right? And so think now, I've killed it all. Now I haven't got what God put in there to help digest it, and it doesn't do very good. And so you have a lot of problems, and a lot of people wind up with allergies to milk, right? Because that stuff isn't in there. And if it was in there, then they wouldn't have had them. But they take it out, and so they pasteurize things. So mankind, in his great wisdom, thinks he's smarter than God, and they pasteurize it. And the reason they did that is because sometimes you can get tainted milk too, and so they want to pasteurize it so that doesn't happen. But for the most part, if we all had our own little cows and we milked them and we just drank it right from the cows like we should, without the pasteurization, it would be extremely healthy for us and not bad. But because of the practices of today, yeah, not good. So it makes it very difficult to digest, increases your metabolic function, and causes more free radicals, blah, blah, blah. And you wind up being allergic to it as well. So, okay. Like that one? What don't you see in there? Soda, yeah. And really, you shouldn't drink very much juice. And the juice, I'm not talking about going and buying an orange juice from the store. I'm talking you squeeze it yourself from an orange. Fresh juice. So you get a juicer and you squeeze it, use it for that. You go to the store and you're just drinking sugar. That's what you're drinking, sugar. So and your insulin's going to go boom, just like that. And when your insulin goes boom, just like that, then your body says, oh my gosh, I got to store all this, and I'm going to store it as fat. I got to get rid of the sugar. And it does, and it turns it into fat and puts it right on your belly or your hips. All right? That's what it does. And so we should drink water, right? Water's number one. I have some here. We have some in the back for you guys. So how much water should we drink? A lot of different ideas out there, right? Yeah. 8 ounce, that's 64 ounces, yeah. Depending on how big you are, right? So they say you are to drink half of your body weight in ounces. So let's say I weighed 120 pounds. Half of my body weight is 60 ounces. So pretty simple. If I weigh 200 pounds, which I do, half my body weight is 100. That's 100 ounces. How many ounces in a gallon? 64, isn't it? 64. I think 128's in 2 gallons, right? 128 in a gallon. Okay. So and a quart is 32. So 64 and a half a gallon. Okay, that makes sense. And so I've got to drink almost a gallon of water. Yeah. That's a lot of water, right? That is a lot of water. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right? Yeah. And so teas are important as well, right? Especially, I think green tea is real important. It has a lot of, immune, increases your immune system a lot. So drinking green tea is really good. Black tea is okay, but it's not as good as green tea. And it just increases your immune system. It's really good for you. Fresh juice is really good for you. And then my favorite, of course, coffee. How many studies has coffee been through? It was good. It was bad. It was good. It was bad. It's good again. I was glad to see that. So the last study they did found that people that drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee a day. Now, guys, this is without putting all the sugar and all the cream and going to Dutch Brothers and saying, can I have a mocha this with whipped cream and da-da-da. No, this is black coffee, all right? That's what it is done on. It wasn't done on those studies on that other stuff. Those are not good. Don't drink. They have tons of calories and they are not good for you. Black coffee, however, 3 to 5 a day extends your life up to 5 years. Yeah. So pretty good, huh? Because there's a lot of good antioxidants in coffee, just like there is in green tea, which has been shown to extend your lifespan as well. Lots of really good things. Okay? So that was number 9 out of Kyle's 12 here. Number 10, don't eat any. Oh, this one I just fries me, right? Don't eat shellfish. I went to a crab feed just the other day, right? That's a shellfish, but I didn't eat hardly any of it for this reason. God said don't eat shellfish. You notice that isn't on his things. Do they have fins? No. Do they have scales? No. No. And so tell me, why would he say don't eat shellfish? So a lot of people are, right? A lot of people shellfish, and there's a reason they're highly allergic to shellfish. Because what do shellfish feed on? What do crabs eat? Yeah, and so they eat all the dead animals that die. They're just like eating a crow or a vulture. You want to eat a vulture? No. I mean, if my life depended on it, maybe I would. But only then, and then my body would have to deal with all the crud that just went in there. But because they have a lot of bad bacteria and a lot of bad stuff. And that's why God said to his people, don't eat shellfish, because it will make you sick. And does it make everyone sick? No. No, it doesn't. That doesn't mean it's good for you. Okay? It doesn't matter if it makes you sick or not. It still doesn't mean it's good for you. It means your body just happened to be able to deal with the crud you're getting. Yeah, it does. Well, yeah, it probably does. Lobster tails are expensive, right? So, yeah. And so you see a lot of reactions to shellfish because of the yucky bacteria and stuff that they have in them. And can you imagine if they weren't cooked real well? then you're really in trouble. So anyway, yeah, we already went over this one, what you're allowed to eat fish-wise, so we don't need to do that again. Number 11, I know it's in there. Eat only unrefined grains. Right? So what the refining process takes all the good out of whatever it is. Flour, wheat, oats, it doesn't matter. If they're refined, if you're eating white flour, you might as well be eating just something that's going to spike your insulin, because it's not going to do anything for you, and it's only going to make things worse. And grains really are one of the villains of the American diet, because we like our grains. They are in what? Everything. They have cake. Does that have grain in it? Donuts. Yeah. I can go on, right? All those things that we love so much. And, you know, and the interesting thing, in the United States, we have the best, literally the best health system on the planet. I look at other health systems. Ours, even though we have problems, ours is the best on the planet, as far as we have the best trained doctors, the best nurses, the best all that. We are about 30th in health, in being healthy. We are one of the least healthy nations on the planet, though we have the best medical care. Now, doesn't that seem kind of strange? You would think it would go together, but it doesn't. And that's largely because of the way that we eat. And then we talked about exercise already, how we don't do that like we should. But remember, nutrition is the most important thing. So, eat only unrefined grains, and I put on my notes, even these should be limited. You really shouldn't eat those carbs all the time. Just shouldn't do it. Should not do it. The carb, even refined or unrefined, is going to spike your insulin, or your insulin, and you don't want that. Now, the less refined it is, the smaller the spike, because it has more fiber, right? And so fiber keeps the spike from going big. That's what it does. And that's why fiber is so good, because it helps keep your insulin spike down. And so unrefined grains are by far the best of the grains that you can eat. But grains are not really good. And if you go to the proper people that know about this stuff, you will see that. They'll all tell, a lot of them tell you don't eat any grains at all. Right? And boy, would we lose weight if we didn't do that. Yeah. Luckily for me, I don't eat a whole lot of grains other than breakfast. I do eat some cereals, but they are the whole grain. But still, nevertheless, I try to stay away from it. Chips sometimes, yeah. I heard you back there. Henri. Okay, and then the biggest one. That is the killer right there. So did you know, sugar, and I've come to find this in my own life and everyone that I know's life, sugar is the most addictive substance known to mankind. There is nothing, and I include heroin and all those drugs as well. There is nothing more addictive than sugar. I would dare any of you to try to stop eating sugar for just 2 weeks. And I mean getting no sugar. You probably can't do it. I'd be surprised. And if you did do it, you'd be going through all kinds of weird withdrawal kinds of stuff. Literally, there is sugar in everything. In fact, one guy said this. If refined sugar was discovered today, it might be classified as a poison, because it is. It does nothing. Listen, sugar does nothing good for you. Nothing. Nothing. You get nothing out of it. It doesn't do any good, I guess, unless you consider it makes it taste good as something good. It does nothing for you. It might be classified as a poison. It gives nothing to the body of any value. It causes the energy levels to become imbalanced and a whole range of other possible symptoms, including extreme fatigue. That's what sugar does. It is horrible. Horrible. And it's bad in any form. Maple syrup, honey, all those. Even though I'm going to give honey as a sugar substitute because it's better than refined sugar. But not unrefined, or refined honey is not better than refined sugar. In other words, the honey you go get at the store that they've taken all the stuff out of and then they've refined it, you might as well just be eating sugar. Well, you are. And so sugar, literally there is nothing more addictive than sugar. And I know it from my own personal experience. I crave sugar. It's a battle for me all the time to not want to eat something that has sugar in it. And they put it in everything. And there's a reason they put it in everything. Because they know that your body needs it. You are addicted to it. You are addicted to sugar. I know you don't like to hear that, but you are. And you just can't stop eating stuff with sugar in it. It just won't happen. I'd be shocked if you could do it. Shocked. There are some substitutes. And honey is one. But it has to be honey that is unrefined. Raw honey, yes. Yeah, and we got a lot of people around here that sell raw honey that we can get that. At the farmer's market, great place to shop, by the way. Farmer's market, you're going to get organic, good stuff, and you support local people, right? Well, where are they, Mars, now? Harvard is one. Harvard by the church out there. Yeah. Methodist church, right? Yeah. So they have them. Okay, good. Yeah, very, very important and very good. So I would recommend a good place to shop. Are you going to pay a little bit more? Probably. Yeah. You just have to, decide what's more important. So anyway, honey's one. And the Bible even talks about that, right? I skipped one here. My son, eat honey because it's good. Yeah, it does. It tastes good. And the honeycomb, which is sweet to your taste, eat it. It's good. However, if don't eat too much, right? Have you found honey? Eat only as much as is sufficient for you, lest you be filled with it and vomit. Yeah, so God knows. Listen, you can have some honey, but have a little bit. Don't go eat a ton of it. You're going to get sick. And then Proverbs 25:27, it is not good to eat much honey, which means a lot of honey. So for men to search out their own glory is not glory. So the same idea. Honey and sugar in any form, even raw honey, is still sugar. And it's still going to give you an insulin spike. Okay? The rawer the honey is, the less you're going to get of that, but it's still that, and you still don't want very much of it. Okay, it's got to be small. And then they have the stevia, which is a good, a decent one, but it has a funky taste to it, in my opinion. But I'm not a big stevia fan because I don't like the taste of it. I'd almost rather have nothing. The same agave nectar. Maybe I can get back to that. Agave nectar, another one that but today that's questionable. There's been some more studies done on it, and some people say, yeah, well, that's not so good for you. But the more you can stay away from sugar in any form, the better off you're going to be. Okay, and out of agave, yeah. And so if the more you can stay away from it, you're just going to be better off. You're not going to be able to, because we're in America, and I don't know where you can do anything that you're not going to get sugar. But the more you can stay away from it, 24 grams or less would be good. 20, and that's like 6 teaspoons or less. Yeah, but good luck trying to keep it down to that. I don't know if we can keep it down to that. It's very hard to do in this country. All right, back in the Old Testament times, New Testament times, they didn't even have sugar. It wasn't around because you could go cane sugar only on islands, and they couldn't get to places. Some of the kings maybe had it, but none of the real people had it. They used honey as their sweetener, and so it wasn't even around. So 12 keys to healthy living: 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. No pork. This is summarized. Eat lean red meat. What's that say? Occasionally. Eat fowl. Organic is best by far. Take a whole food supplement. So important to supplement your diet, but with the right kind of vitamins that are going to do you any good. You can take the other kind, but they're just going to go through your body and do nothing for you. Okay, you wasted your money. Take omega-3 supplements. Limit your dairy products. Drink water, teas, fruit juices, coffee. Where's my coffee on there? It's on there. It's right here. Okay, no shellfish. Eat only unrefined grains, and absolutely, undeniably, no sugar. All right, let's take a 10-minute break.